Yes, I think we've heard a lot of stories about IUU, 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 IUU. I think it's cross-cutting. If you look at what pertains in IUU in Ghana, you go to Senegal, it's the same. You go to neighboring regions, they are the same. I believe that one, it is because the species themselves are transboundary, there are shared stocks, and therefore problems surrounding them are just about the same. Since we started the program on IUU, I think we've heard so much about IUU, and like I said, they are cross-cutting. Nobody in this room is ignorant about IUU within the sub-region and then within the region as well. So I think we can go forward. Why regional coastal fisheries matter? All coastal communities depend on the fisheries for employment and income. If you look at all other commercial activities within the coastal region are hinged on the fishery. When there's fish, the drivers have business, the hairdressers have business, the drinking bars have business, everybody has business. The entire community, you realize, is booming with whatever business they're engaged in. So in every coastal community, if the fisheries is down, it goes down with every commercial activity. That is why it is important that, again, it is also a crucial protein source for the entire region. We all know. We also have it is also significant to national and regional economies. The more the fish, economic activities boom, and the economies. And then in Ghana, we had the media budget review, and I think fisheries was one of the three that contributed most to GDP, which is, and again, if we have a coastal, it matters because if we have a resilient coastal ecosystems support broader marine life. If the fisheries is resilient, then definitely anything that borders on the marine, also does very well. What is IUU fishing? We've learned so much. I don't want us to belabor the point. They are there, fishing activities conducted in violation of national laws and international obligations. For example, fishing with chemicals using prohibited gear, fishing aggregative device like light fishing, unreported. We underreport our catches. Some we don't even report at all. And then unregulated as well. One thing about the artisanals is that we're so big. In Ghana, we have over 14,000 canoes. And the regulators do not have the capacity to actually offer services, extension services to the fishers. So most often than not, fishers are left on their own to do what they want. It is also the reason for the IUU that we're still fighting to curb. Like I said, cross-cutting IUU practices in regional coastal regions, all these things are found in almost all the regional coastal communities. The use of unapproved nets, trawling within the IEZ, the capture of juvenile fish, transshipment at sea, light fishing, the use of obnoxious substances like chemicals and dynamite. We've heard all these things. I don't want us to belabor this point. Now, the devastating effect of the IUU. Ecologically, you realize that We tend to damage the coral reefs, seagrass, beds, other critical habitats, and so on and so forth. Uh, we also have the rapid depletion of our fish stocks. That's why we find ourselves here now. That even in Ghana, we realize that if care is not taken, the small pelagics, which is the mainstay of the coastal communities, is on the verge of total collapse if care is not taken. Reduction of species richness, that is, we capture a lot of, like, what do you call it? Already, we are harvesting dolphins, we are harvesting turtles. We are using these chemicals, and therefore, all these species of fishes are migrating, and therefore, we find ourselves not catching practically anything at all. Migration of fish into the deeper, yes, these are all as a result of the devastating effect of the unapproved way of doing fishing, or the unsustainable way of fishing within our coastal communities. Now, the social economics as well. We have fewer fish also means less income for fishers, leading to the abject poverty that we are experiencing within our coastal communities. We also have less expensive protein available for local consumption, impacting on health. These days, you have the youth even, being diagnosed with kidney issues, heart problems, hypertension, you name them. And it's all as a result of the kind of chemicals we engage in fishing with, not to talk about what illegal mining also has to bring to bear. And then also, one of the devastating effects of IUU is the tension between legal and illegal fishers, or even within the communities. We still have good people out there doing good fishing. And therefore, more often than not, within the coastal communities or fishing communities, we have fishers fighting fishers because of the way and manner we do our fishing. Now, the key challenges in combating IUU in regional coastal fisheries. In this workshop, I think we've realized that weaker enforcement is part of the problem, and it is weak because the insufficient, logistical constraints, supplies, enforcement for the enforcement agencies. Now, no deterrent sanctions by the law court, like we heard yesterday, and most of the presentations. You arraign, an IUU fisher before the court, and you realize that the fines are about maybe 10, 20 times lower than what he has captured, and is able to pay and go back and do same. So there's no incentive for them to stop. Again, we have the political interference, as we all know, and then we have weak political will by, governments, to enforce the laws. They're thinking about their votes. Because one of the biggest organized working groups is the fishing industry. And therefore, they are very careful at bringing the law on them. We also have the unfair competition between the artisanal fishers and the industrial fishers. With the industrial vessels, we know that they are very high in technology. They have all what it takes to determine the movement of the fish, the biodiversity, where they are, and everything. We still do, the kind of fishing the days of Jesus Christ. There's no technology on board. And looking at what global warming has on the industry, and then the kind of illegal activities out there, fish, you cannot detect fish with your naked eyes like we used to do before. So these are some of the challenges. Again, the inability of the fisheries regulators to offer extension services to the fishers. As I said, already they have challenges with personnel. And if you look at 14,000 canoes, average 10 people per canoe, 140 to 200,000 fishers, then you need, uh, the requisite personnel force to ensure that they have the kind of direction and extension services that they require. Because it is absent, it has also promoted, it continues to promote the practice of IUU within our waters. Now, this is where I want to concentrate, because all what we've just gone through are things that we've heard and heard and heard and heard and heard. I don't think that this school has been designed to listen to problems. I think it should be more of solution-based. So I'll give you the Ghana example of our solution, and then maybe other countries will share. And these are the best practices. We'll put them together. And then I think that in our own small way, outside governments, we should also be able to also practice some of the best practices to curb the decline, the constant decline of our fisheries. In Ghana, the government of Ghana has ratified the co-management policy. In the past, it used to be top to bottom. So, approach. And like Dr. Ife just said, you realize that in the government building, they enact laws and policies, you bring them down to the communities, and you realize that they are round pegs in square holes. It doesn't really work. It doesn't really work. And so we started advocating for bottom to top. I believe that under the co-management arrangement, because it's not everything also that emanates from the bottom that we can say is good. And therefore, the time has come for us to sit around the table. That's the co-management. So I think it's a midway approach that should be able to resolve most of our problems. Hence, the enactment of the co-management policies. And as I speak now, we have coastal, small pelagic co-management committees, and they are doing fantastic. And we believe that they are on pilot basis now, and I'm sure very soon it will be replicated in all the fishing communities. And it is one thing that we must emulate as fishers in this room. Again, we have the close season, like we said, and gradually the sub-region is also picking up, because if we, Ghana, closes our sea, and Ivory Coast doesn't, and since they are transboundary, they are migratory species, they are a shared stock, then it won't be fair. And I think the government of Ghana has done so much consultation with the sub-regional authorities, and I believe that Benin is on board now, Ivory Coast is on board, Liberia, Togo have promised that they will come on board, and I'm sure that that will also mitigate the problem with IUU. We also in Ghana have demarcated a marine protected area. It is sitting with cabinet at the moment, will be passed anytime soon, and we have the first marine protected area. The government has also proposed other closed areas which will also go to augment the effort of overfishing and allow fishes to spawn the way they've been created to. Again, we have the landing beach enforcement. We realize that because of logistical constraints, political interference, political will, a police sergeant will arrest a canoe and the inspector will come and say, release him, that kind. So really the enforcement is so weak that under the USAID GFRA project, we came up with the concept of picking credible fishers within every community to help, provide intelligence to the relevant authorities, also to sensitize and educate fishers as the do's and don'ts within the sector. And therefore, hence we have the landing beach enforcement committees. And I think there has been a research on the Navy, the Marine Police, the monitoring, control, and surveillance unit, or the fisheries enforcement unit, and then the LABEX, and then it was realized that, or it was found that the LABEX are doing better than the security agencies themselves because there's no interference when it comes to reporting and action. We also, as a country, are undergoing gear audit for the artisanal sector because most of our gears are IUU gears on the size meshes. So we are always landing juveniles. And if you clear all your juveniles, then in actual fact, you are depleting the stocks. And therefore, that's also one bold move the government has undertaken. Also under the USAID project, during the Sustainable Fisheries Management era, we also came up with a fisher-to-fisher dialogue because fishermen, after a while, became very skeptical, believing people who are outside their domain or outside their vocation because so many things have gone under the bridge. And so we realized that if fishers themselves begin the conversation among themselves, that it's wrong to use dynamite, it's wrong to use chemicals, it is wrong to use the kind of nets that you have in your canoe, and we realized that it was working. And through the fisher-to-fisher dialogue, the fishers agreed to observe the first close season in 2019. And ever since the moratorium has taken place, so many reforms have gone on through the sector. Fishermen have complied, clearly indicating that when you allow the fishers themselves to own the industry, they can do better than the regulators or people or NGOs or people they really are suspicious of, so to speak. So the fisher-to-fisher dialogue is one thing I also recommend that we emulate in our various countries. It really works. Again, Ghana has also ended the open access system where when you have your money, you just go and construct a canoe, you buy your fishing gears, you buy your this and then you are good to go. Because we realize that we are confronted as a country with overcapacity. There's far too many fleets chasing the little stocks that is left. And we can't continue pretending over the collapse of a natural resource like fish. And if we allow the fish, it is the only natural resource that allows, that replenishes itself. Gold, oil, gas will finish one day. But with the fish, if we fish responsibly, the fish will continue to feed generations and generations yet unborn. And therefore, with the first moratorium, 3-year moratorium, no new entrance of canoes into our marine space anymore. Because statistics have shown that we need 9,000 canoes to actually match the biodiversity that we have currently. And if we have 14,000, then clearly we are overfishing. And so something must be done about it. Hence, the first moratorium, that is the 3-year moratorium, we don't allow new canoes into the marine space. It wasn't easy to come back. Fishermen actually pushed back. But they also agreed that, yes, indeed, 20 years ago, our fishes, have really declined and keeps on declining year by year. And therefore, they have agreed and they are observing it, even though we have a few challenges here and there. And then finally, I think the Parliament of Ghana and the President of Ghana has consented to and appended his signature for the extension of the IEZ, so giving artisanal fishers a broader area to fish. Thank you so much.